Good afternoon, I'm Vashon Brown with the Midday News. Special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. Trouble is again brewing between local workers attached to the Mandela Highway Improvement Project and the project contractor China Harbour Engineering Company Limited Czech. The workers, who stayed off the job on Tuesday, protesting unfair working conditions, among other things, were locked out of the site on Wednesday. TVJ's Herman Green has our report.
We're not slaves. We're labor workers. We deserve better treatment, and we also deserve everything that we're required to get.
That sums up the demands of several local workers at a section of the Mandela Highway Improvement Project referred to as the Industrial Belt Development. The workers do pipe laying and other forms of manual labor. They complain that management and supervisors treat them disrespectfully and they are not being paid fairly.
They expect for us to work 7 days a week for the same minimum pay, which is a little below $2,000 a day. On public holidays, we don't get double time, we don't get time and a half, nothing of the sort. None of that we get.
Additionally, they say their colleagues have been injured on the job because the basic safety gear needed to do their work is not being provided.
The Chinese Harbour is supposed to provide us with helmets. He's charging every worker $500 per helmet.
Yes.
Okay? Gloves, they're supposed to provide. We have no gloves. Water, we're supposed to be provided with. We have no water, no dust masks. This used to be a landfill. There's toxic fumes blowing over here. Last year, there was asbestos that was found. I'm quite sure the media has a record of that.
A meeting was held on Tuesday to discuss the issues, but the workers say those talks broke down as they were not being allowed to speak and the management spoke in Chinese, which frustrated the process. They say it's why they took protest action. But Wednesday morning, when they turned up for work, they say they were all locked out of the site. They are now urging the Labour Ministry to intervene.
They inform us that the government doesn't care about us, so neither will they. This is why we're being treated the way we're being treated. And we want it to change. We have to stand up on our own. We have a family. We're here every day to work. And we come out every day, and we deserve to be treated as human beings here.
Attempts to get a response from representatives of Czech on the issue were not successful. Herman Green, TVJ News.
Children's advocate Dan Gordon Harrison says Jamaica's child welfare system needs a major overhaul in the wake of reports that a 9-year-old ward of the state was allegedly raped last week. The incident reportedly happened on Labor Day at the Strathmore Children's Home in St. Catherine. Speaking on RJR's hotline this morning, Mrs. Gordon Harrison agreed that some children's homes lack the necessary resources to ensure the well-being of wards of the state. But she says the government needs to revisit its approach to child welfare.
I honestly do think that we have the roadmap as to where we need to go. The question is, and it comes back to priorities, willingness to do things perhaps slightly differently, and also an expansion in the way we think as a people in terms of making those hard decisions sometimes that will take some cash to care up front, but in the end you're measuring cash versus people's lives and long-term outcomes of children who are very much at the heart of the responses that we need to be making.
The Child Protection and Family Services Agency, as well as the Office of the Children's Advocate, have confirmed that they're conducting a probe into the incident, which is said to involve other minors. The 9-year-old girl has been removed from the St. Catherine Children's Facility. Meanwhile, the mother of the 9-year-old ward of the state who was reportedly raped at the Strathmore Children's Home is demanding that the child be released into her custody. She says 5 of her children were placed in state care because their father was not taking care of them. The woman adds that she attempted to regain custody of the children but encountered challenges.
I got court them and say I had them to pay $5,000 every week. I mean I have that, so I not pay that because I have to pay $5,000 every week, and soon as I get somewhere we put enough can take them, we get them. But I got there to them another time and tell them say I have somewhere that I can take them now, and I say I owe them money and I have to pay $200,000 to get them back. But I tell them I don't have it. You can't afford to pay $5,000 every week. Towards the children them.
Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton has commissioned a study of the health complaints of workers at the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James. He says it will be done by a multidisciplinary team of researchers from the University of the West Indies. And we move on now to two opposition members are taking the government to task for failing to truthfully and adequately address national issues. Opposition Senator Damien Crawford and the Manchester Northwestern MP Michael Phillips were addressing the PNP Divisional Conference at the Warminster Community Centre in St. Elizabeth on the weekend. TVJ's Krista Campbell has the details.
MP and opposition spokesman on Transport and Works, Michael Phillips, took issue with what he deemed Prime Minister Andrew Holness's silence on national issues plaguing his government.
The opposition spokesman on development and national physical planning is calling for a debate on the report which reviewed the operations of the National Housing Trust, NHT. Anthony Hilton made the call in his sectoral presentation in the House of Representatives.
Such a debate will be both timely and necessary, considering the far-reaching recommendations, and will serve to inform the Jamaican people on a matter of fundamental importance, Mr. Speaker.
He also wants changes to the National Spatial Plan.
Opposition, Mr. Speaker, is calling on the government to urgently put in place a review mechanism involving the opposition, planning professionals, non-governmental groups, and the private sector to assist in the process of quickly developing a national spatial plan as the basis for rebuilding and updating our deficient planning system.
Detectives in Santana are still awaiting forensic results to determine the identity of a body found burnt beyond recognition in the parish on Monday morning. Preliminary checks reveal that the charred remains could be that of a media house employee. About 5 o'clock last Thursday afternoon, residents of Orange Park in St. Anne heard loud explosions and called the police. Police say they searched the area but did not find anything. However, on Monday morning, they say they followed leads and searched another section of the community. They found a burnt-out grey Nissan Tida motor car with the charred remains of a body in the trunk. TVJ News understands that the car was rented from someone in Kingston on May 20 for 3 days. When the car was not returned, a report was made to the Matilda's Corner Police. Attorney at Law Jennifer Machado has been hospitalized. Her attorney, Christopher Townsend, this morning confirmed that Mrs. Machado is being treated after collapsing on Tuesday. Mrs. Machado is facing several fraud-related charges in relation to two matters. Principal of the Pembroke Hall High School, Claude Ellis, has come out in defense of devotions being held in schools, insisting that it's an important tool of discipline for students. He was speaking on TVJ's Smile Jamaica program on Wednesday in response to a recent letter to the Gleaner about the current format of devotions in schools.
A lot of persons believe that devotion is primarily preaching to children, but it is not just about inculcating spiritual values. We also use the exercise to pass on information to the students for the day, for the week. It is also a place where students learn the discipline of self-control, being in a controlled environment where you need to listen to someone else while you stand there.
The issue has again been brought to the fore because of a recent report that some students did not want to go to devotion because they were either not interested or they have different religious beliefs. But Mr. Ellis stressed that students who are from different religious faiths are not the ones complaining, but those who do not want to go to the devotion.
If you allow children to just be all around the school and not be supervised, then if something should happen, as a principal, I remain responsible for that.
That's true.
And so if a parent should say, I do not want my child to be actively participating in devotional exercise, I'll understand that. And I will look to see how can we then have the child in a controlled environment where they are supervised.
As the hurricane season fast approaches, farmers in Manchester are being encouraged to set up facilities for water harvesting. Public Relations Officer at the Manchester branch of the Jamaica Agricultural Society, Gary Rowe, says this will help to reduce crop loss whenever farmers are again faced with drought.
But unusually now, it is raining when it never usually rains.
and it is dry when it's never usually dry. So we are educating our farmers now that they must do water harvesting. They have several ways. You can get tanks, you can get drums. Even in your field, you can dig a little pit and line it and seal it, that when the rains fall, or when it rains, it catches the water, and you can have it like January, March, when it's usually dry, or other times when it is now unusually dry.
He added that the JAS is currently undertaking an education campaign to explore ways to help farmers finance their water harvesting facilities. One of the unions representing workers at Petrojam is staunchly supporting the Auditor General's move to conduct a probe into the operations of the oil refinery. The move follows allegations of victimization, project overruns, and the hiring of people who are not fully competent. On Tuesday, the parliamentary opposition questioned whether the oil refinery has recruited a human resource manager at a remuneration package in the region of $12 million. The Union of Clerical, Administrative and Supervisory Employees says the situation warrants a detailed investigation.
In matters of this nature, my view is that the institutions, the bodies, vested with the authority and the responsibility to act on behalf of the people of Jamaica, i.e. the Auditor General, must do their examination and to lay the findings bare in the Parliament that the public can be made aware of what is happening. I would expect the management to act judiciously and within the interest of the organization and to protect the assets of the Jamaican people that they are, for the time, being vested with that authority. I don't expect anybody to go off on a frolic of their own. So I have no difficulty with the Auditor General coming in.
And it's time now for a look at what's coming up in this evening's Health Report.
In the next edition of the Health Report, we'll look at the procedure for cervical disc replacement. That's the Health Report this evening in Primetime News. And now for today's Healthy Living tip. Advantages of cervical disc replacement include preserved motion in the neck, reduced pain, decreased degeneration of adjacent discs, limited disability, and earlier return to work.
In sports, Jamaica's Fabian Tucker will face an uphill task to secure the nation's fifth quarter-final spot in the Ray Neffy Contender Series. Tucker faces former kickboxer Tariq Desert Storm Ismail of Canada later tonight at the Chinese Benevolent headquarters. We have more in this report.
Former kickboxer and MMA fighter Tariq Ismail, who replaces his injured countryman Jeff Tabrizi, looks set to carry the favourites tag into Wednesday's clash. But Jamaica's Fabian Tucker will be hoping to stun the Canadian with his first career win after 3 previous defeats. 28-year-old Ismail, who won his professional boxing debut in April last year with a majority decision over fellow Canadian Dylan Rushton, believes Tucker will be his second victim in the boxing ring.
You know what, tomorrow night I'm going to showcase my first day as a 28-year-old. Today is my birthday. Tomorrow is going to be a massacre inside that ring. And you know what? I welcome everybody in this tournament. Anybody that wants to step up, whether you're Team Canada or Team Jamaica, it doesn't matter. I'm getting that gold.
Tucker, who tipped the scale 4 pounds overweight at 151 pounds, 6 pounds heavier than Ismail, says he's ready for the contest.
Definitely, the shape is good. A lot of work, a lot of sparring. So I'm ready.
Ismail is not concerned about the weight differential and plans to give Tucker a whipping.
I'm super talented at what I do. I work extremely hard, and I'm excited to put on a phenomenal show for Jamaica.
Jamaica leads the series 4-3 with wins from Richard Frog Holmes, Nika Yayo, Devon Concrete Moncrief, and Michael Wasp Gardner, while Wazim El Sinawi, Dave LeBlanc, and Richard Salas are the winners for Canada. TVJ will have live coverage starting at 9:30. Reporting for TVJ Sports, I'm Keon Reyna.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Vashon Brown. Join us at 7 for Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, have a good afternoon.